Today on Future Cities Africa, I talk with Kyra Rautenbach. She's Sustainability Manager at Attacq Ltd. She has a strong technical background with a Master of Science degree in Energy and Sustainable Building Design, focused in engineering from De Montfort University. Kyra, welcome. What does your role at Attacq Ltd consist of?
Hi Dan, thank you so much. So let me tell you a little bit about my role. I am the Sustainability Manager. What that means is I look after sustainability on both the development and operation side. So I embed sustainability throughout the process, throughout our development process, making sure that we consider sustainability from the ground up and that whatever we're operating, that it's done in the most sustainable way possible. So I target initiatives and I've developed various strategies around this approach. It's not just on a building level. We look a bit wider. We've got a city, so we're looking at a city level. We've got Waterfall City, and as well as a portfolio level. So we've got assets all over the country.
So let's talk about Waterfall City, the South Africa's first smart city. What are some of the key sustainability initiatives that you are running there, and what are some of the key objectives that you're trying to achieve with these initiatives?
So what we've actually just recently done is we have developed our Sustainability 2020 strategy, and this sort of underpins Waterfall City as our starting point, I would say, but it does look at the greater portfolio. Part of this strategy is really focusing on creating a smart, resilient, and well-operated city, and as well as portfolio. We've got a lot of initiatives underway and being piloted throughout the city, and that's the opportunity and the advantage we have, being a city that, we can take advantage of initiatives on that scale. We can test them and roll them out. So we're doing a lot from energy, water, waste, transport, as well as the public realm. So on our energy side, we've got a lot of PV being rolled out. There's a lot happening there. On our waste, we are actually looking at the entire waste management process. So looking at a closed loop economy approach. So cradle to grave, what are all the material flows in our waste streams and how can we improve that? Definitely on the water side, there's a lot of water saving initiatives underway, water optimization. So really we look at both, how does the initiative improve our intensities or benchmarks, and then how does it reduce our cost of occupancy? So the two need to speak together or speak to each other.
And any sustainable transport initiatives that you have running there?
Yes, so we're definitely looking at smart initiatives that improve the operations of our traffic system, making sure, for example, cars entering buildings, that it's done smoothly, our biometrics, our access points, just the whole scheme together needs to flow. So we've definitely got quite a few initiatives around that. Just to talk about some of the trends, like the smart city trends, and maybe some of the projects that I'm focusing on, because it's quite interesting. So we are quite interested in doing a climate change assessment for our Waterfall City, and we are in the process of installing a scientific grade weather station. So this will really give us a lot more meaningful data into the local climate. We're looking at your air quality, we're looking at all your your temperature, your wind, your humidity sensors. We're looking at lightning detection, UV ray levels, all of that. So it really is going to complete our picture about what's happening within our local environment. There's so much potential uses for this data. It's quite exciting. So obviously we'll be able to build up, all that data and use it within our own building design. So we often find that our engineers, use local weather stations, weather files to sort of design and engineer their building systems, or there's various applications. But we find that there is a big difference between what's happening at that weather station and within our city. We've got a build-up of different structures, we've got a specific landscape, there's a lot of things happening. So the more accurate the data, the better the design. And on top of that, we want to be able to run climate change scenarios. So looking at a 2030, a 2050 model, what is the impact on our our city, and have we adequately designed our buildings and our infrastructure for it? So do we need to future-proof our HVAC systems, or have we included enough shading? We see that there's a lot of heat gain in the area. The local temperature is higher than what is predicted. We want all that kind of data to help us inform our future design. The more data you produce and how meaningful you make it is really what would define or set you apart. So that's a core aspect, core focus for us. We're also interested in, I would say a key focus is on the concept of blockchain, or the principle of blockchain, but not linked to the crypto. So really the principle in itself is still very valuable and worth exploring. Definitely looking into autonomous based tasks, so like your drone mapping where you've got 0 man hours. So those kind of innovations where you really are optimizing your processes and your flows, that's definitely part of our smart city strategy, as well as looking at 4D planning in relation to construction. So definitely, how do you optimize your construction process?
Giles mentioned in one of the chats that I had with him that you have the problem, the fortunate problem of having too much data.
Yes.
Is that still, how do you manage that? How do you currently use data to make decisions, especially on the sustainability part?
So what we've realized is we've got a minefield of data, and it's really important to carefully plan and think about how that data can be more meaningful to help you obviously drive KPIs and behavior. So what we are undertaking is an exercise. We've actually appointed an eco-analytics expert, and they're going to help us derive more meaningful information out of our data to help us plan and carefully target strategic initiatives across the portfolio. So we've got a lot of data coming in all different directions, and we really want to organize it in a seamless way. It gets complicated around your types of reporting, your carbon footprint, and setting up all those protocols. So we want to streamline that process so that we have more regular reporting that can help us on implement and action all the strategies and initiatives we have for the next financial year.
Talking about future cities, what do you think is the biggest challenge that South Africa must overcome to be sustainable?
The thing with future cities is you need to look at both resilience and business continuity coming together. And I think that's what the advantage around cities give you. You have the opportunity to build that resilience in. And naturally, if you can align your sustainability objectives with that, then you've got a winning model. So there are a lot of challenges, and the underlying infrastructure will always be questionable, but where you've got cities like Waterfall City, and that the infrastructure, underlying framework, the backbone is so resilient that everything that's built on top of it is going to work and flow seamlessly. For us, we know that our biggest challenge is resilience. So making sure that our portfolio can operate without anything going down, without any service interruption is critical. But then obviously aligning your sustainability objectives to that, it's really important. So water resilience, energy resilience, having water backup, having energy backup, making that available is really important, because obviously the economy that's depending on you and will function as a result.
And how do you think we'll be able to make future cities inclusive for everyone?
So this is definitely an approach we're following and consider. It's part of our sustainability lens. So whenever we go into a new design, or we are looking at a new space within the city, within the portfolio, we consider all of those aspects. We definitely, to ensure we've got inclusive design, we need to make spaces that facilitate and are accessible to everybody. For example, our public transport taxi rank, this was critical infrastructure that plays a very important role in the city and provides access to a multitude of people coming from different areas. So that was a really important initiative. And then from there, we look at, your transport and your walkability routes throughout the city. So making sure that people have got movement and mobility, have got access, So all of those aspects are planned carefully into the master plan.
So the future isn't set in stone. What is your worst nightmare about it?
So we've definitely been faced with a few disruptions. The most recent we can't avoid, we can't not talk about it, being COVID. And we have seen the impact it has had not only on us, but the greater country, you know, the economy, the world economy as well. And what this means for property developers like ourselves and how we're going to respond to it is absolutely critical. We've seen, you know, the impact to our tenants, the challenges they've faced, and how it's going to be disrupting the use of space and the design of buildings going forward. So I think my biggest fear would be that we don't respond to this challenge in a way that adequately addresses the problem. We need to create safe spaces that promote well-being and health, and flexible spaces. So, you know, what is our next step for creating spaces that can accommodate a change of use, or you know, how flexible are we and how adaptable are we to this situation? We need to test that, and we have the opportunity to test it. So we need to pilot some things and come up with some interesting strategies around it.
So there are many students in the field of sustainability who might be unsure about their futures. Do you have any advice or words of encouragement for students in this field to stay positive?
If I think of my own background and how I started as a student, I didn't actually imagine I'd end up here, but it came down to hard work and determination through these uncertain times. And, you know, your passion will always shine through. So never give up, especially if this is something that you take really seriously and it's important to you. There's a reason why you started studying what you studied. So, you know, always believe in yourself and your abilities, and use these uncertain times to help you realign, adjust your strategy, and look for the opportunities. There is always an opportunity when things are tough or when things are uncertain. So, I mean, that's definitely how I've always approached it. So, you know, being a student, being young, you have that advantage. You're not set in your ways. You are a free thinker. Use it to your advantage.